What is going on, guys? It is me, your host, Noiz.I TV, and welcome to another episode of Noiz.I Talks with Friends. This episode here is very special to me, just because this is a family member, and I'm just going to say that for right now. It's a family member, this will be episode number 9. So thank you guys for continuing to love and support and share. It really means a lot. I'm trying to think what else. If you are new to the channel, please like, comment, subscribe, share. We are on our way to 1K. So I appreciate you guys. We made it to 200. So that is a big accomplishment for me. So thank you. But today I have
Chef Harv, I guess.
Chef Harv.
Future formerly known as.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. This is my cousin Joshua. So one of the reasons why this is very special for me because we knew each other not as well, but we knew each other as children, teenagers. Mm-hmm. But there has been like some long lost time. Mm-hmm. So it's been about 10 plus years?
Probably longer than that.
Let's just say 10 plus years since I've seen my cousin. So it really means a lot that we get the time to talk to each other as adults, especially. So I'm very excited about today. It will get really heavy today, so I hope you're prepared.
Hey, I'm
just, you know what I'm saying? But
I got a story to tell you.
Oh, I'm excited. But for those who don't know you, you want to give a little background about yourself, or?
All right, Josh Harvey. I am from Las Vegas, of course.
Yeah.
Were you born in Vegas or no?
I was born in Springfield, sadly.
Okay, yeah. So his mom and my mom are first cousins. So mm-hmm. I'm a little bit older than him.
Yeah.
So I actually remember changing his diapers at some point.
I never knew this, by the way.
We're from Vegas. Of course, we moved to Springfield around when he was born. I lived there, Springfield, Ohio, for about 7 years. Mm-hmm. When I was 19. I moved to Pittsburgh to go to culinary school. So I've actually lived in Pittsburgh for 14 years.
Wow.
So I had a little stint in Columbus, and then I moved back to Pittsburgh. But anyhow, now I am here in northern Kentucky, Cincinnati area. And yeah, here we are.
Yeah, man, like I said, very excited about this episode, just because it gives me a real idea of who my cousin actually is, and like it's something that I'm really appreciative of, just because again I don't want to get to the point where we get older in our lives and I never got to have a conversation with any of my family members. So that's something that I'm pushing the narrative of, and friends as well.
Right.
So if you guys are watching this channel, please understand that conversation and communication goes a long way. You guys have to understand how to listen, first of all, and then react and respond. Don't just react and respond off of one thing, and then please actively listen and then respond. You have to get the entire thing, okay? It is 6 questions. I always ask people 6 questions. No one ever knows what the questions are, just because I want to see their real reaction, their real response in real time. So are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.
I'm ready, fresh.
Okay. So the first question, because we haven't seen each other in a long time, I never knew the real reason of why you took time away from the family. So the question that I have, the very first question, number 1, is what made you separate yourself from the family?
I just think that at a time when I was a young teen, I would say, I just felt like I was just more so independent, just because of I had high responsibilities because of who I was, and I would say the family order of things.
Right.
Things, you know what I mean? So,
yeah.
I'm the middle child, but also the oldest male. So therefore, you have like a lot of responsibility, being like kind of the man of the house, along with having to be responsible for a younger being, because we had a pretty big gap of 8 years. So when you go to, and kind of in school in psychology, they teach you about all these things, birth order, and how things, age gaps affect it. But in this case, like I've become the more responsible father figure of a sort. And I saw that my other family members per se, like your older brothers or my like, you know, father figures, I would say, like the male figures in my life. So they just went on to, you know, have families, and, you know, I understood that, you know, at some point that, you know, you're just going to be doing your own thing, starting your own family, and I understood that early. So when it's actually funny, your mother is the reason why I left.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember.
I don't.
We were playing basketball, and we used to be neighbors, by the way.
Yeah, we were honestly, right next to each other.
We've always been neighbors.
Yeah, for sure. Wow, we have.
Yeah,
wow.
We've always been neighbors since you were born, I would say. For a long time. Anyhow, we're playing basketball and shooting, you know, in front of the house, and your mom says, "Hey, Joshua, here's, like, I got somebody on the phone for you." And of course she says nothing, and no speculation about what no information on what the phone call is about. And then it's this guy, "What's up, Daryl?" It's still my homie Daryl. It's funny how the world spins back. Anyhow, Daryl, he's on the phone, he's like, "If I could get you in school, would you come?" Like, I'm like, hell yeah, like I'm trying to get out of here. Like,
right.
Because of course I'm 19, and just that, and me, this time frame actually circles back to me being in this household. That's another question for you, of course.
For sure.
But anyhow, so I'm like, yeah, like, and then that led me to be, like, 2 weeks later, I was on my packing up to go to Pittsburgh to go to culinary school. And he was the one of the recruiters for the school. So,
wow.
Yeah, shout out to Daryl again, that's my homie. Yeah, good guy.
Yeah, and do you feel like you, at an early age, understanding that, you know, you have that responsibility, do you feel like that ever caused you to look at the family in a different way because maybe some people didn't support the decision for you to go? Or, like, I mean, again, I don't know the full story. So, like, do you feel like you lost relationship with people because you left, or, like, do you feel like because of your best interest at the time you went?
I kind of feel that it just, the forcing of having to be, you know, just change, like always having to have change and adapt to change.
Yeah.
So we're from Vegas. I moved from Vegas when I was 11, going on 12. So it's just one of those things. And Vegas is Vegas. If you don't know, or people don't know, is Vegas. It's like a lot of different demographics, a lot of different troubles you could get into, a lot of different gangs and stuff. And that's why my mom wanted to move, of course, and then to be closer to your grandmother, which is kind of her mother figure, I would say. And I wasn't, like, afraid of change, and of course for the better and something new. If it was going to move my life forward, I understood you gotta move from where you're from mentality, because it essentially, you kind of you spend so much time and waste so much time just being doing traditional things.
Yes.
And in those traditions, it often people don't like change.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why you get, and you probably have I would say a negative outlook about, or maybe what I think. Yeah. Because of what other people say. Yeah. And that's not the case. Yeah. Of course, we've never had this conversation. For sure. I said, when I saw, again, I see the vision of the show and I love it. I saw what's going on, and I feel like I could read people. I could read everything. To me is body language. Yeah. What you're saying, as well as how you're saying it. So I could feel you. Like we're really here when it comes to, you know, what you're doing, and I love it. So I'm like, you know, I think this would be a good way for me to get some things off of my chest. For sure. Because, of course, a lot of people don't go to therapy. They can't afford therapy. Come on. Or they don't even believe in it. So I believe in it, and I think there's different ways to seek therapy and different ways that you get therapy. But you have to be very calculated. And you have to actually be in the mind state to even understand that. And to receive it. What to receive, and to know what is to you, which is therapeutic. Because some people seek other avenues, what they think is therapy to them, which is what's not really therapy.
Right. Because I think one of the main reasons why I felt a negative aspect on why I left is because, again, I didn't understand.
Correct.
Because us growing up, our family was like this, because that's all we had. All my friends were my family. Everyone I talked to was my family. I never really looked out to anyone or reached out to anyone to talk to, because all I had was my family. That's all I knew. That's all I was built around. And then as you get older, you do see, you know, like you said, people start to have families, and like then you understand, like, you know, why certain things separate or why certain things distance each other. But as an early kid, when all I knew was family, and now I see my family is like kind of like going like this. I'm just like, wait, like, you know, where are you guys going? And it did have a negative impact on me, because now I'm like, okay, now I have to figure out how can I make friends? How can I talk to people? How can I, because that's all I had was my family. So I will say, as a younger cousin, I do apologize for looking at it at a negative way, just because it was tough for me, because like you said, we've been neighbors our entire life. So anytime I wanted to play basketball or play hide and seek or whatever, it was with him and his brother, or me and my sister, or whatever. And like our houses were the go-to for people to, we always had block parties, cookouts, people were spending the night. So it's just like, when that's all I had as a kid, and to really attach myself to what I guess life really was at that time, when you left, I'm like, why? Like, did I do something? Did your family do something? And it was something that
I'm going to I accept your apology, and I'm going to say I apologize.
Oh, I don't even cry right now, bro.
Yeah. This is one of those things, is when you grow, you kind of understand that everything isn't about you, and you don't always make the right moves in a situation. On top of what you don't make the right moves about, you have to be accountable about who you did what to. So essentially, in this case, it kind of is pros and cons. There's a negative aspect to it too. The negative portion is, I feel like our family is so tight knit. Yes. And a lot of it is because we were forced to be all we had, along with, because of us being poor. I can recall so many situations to where I'm woken up at 4 a.m. because your mom hit on a slot, or your mom got extra food stamps. Or, you know what I mean? Because our phone was that family was that tight. On top of that, we were like very poor. Yeah, we were. So I think that we had that sense of family and community amongst each other, and I can understand how that would have such a big impact on you, because you just lose that. You'd be like, damn, what's going on? But I felt like I saw the toxic nature of also what was going on with just our family's religious views. Yes. And I just feel me moving away, I learned a lot. Like, I learned, well, first off, being from Vegas, you have so many different demographics of people that you grow up with. Like, it's not just a bunch of white people. White people, obviously, the minority, I would say, where we grew up at. So when I moved to Pittsburgh, I'm exposed to 14% of a city, or I might be wrong, but it's a very low percentage of how many black people live in the city. Right. So there's more Jews, there's more people who come of Polish descent, there's German descent, and there's a lot of Russians. So I have Indian friends. Shout out to my guys. Me going to an Indian wedding reception, an Indian baby shower, all these things like opened my mind up to where our family is very Christian, strong apostolic views, whatever you want to call it, but it's very strong, and they're really I feel like they kind of force it upon everybody, not just us, but everybody. And I have my friends who are Muslims. My barber's Muslim. Like I told you, my friends are Hindu. I have friends that are atheists. Right. You know what I mean? I have my best friend. He's Jehovah's Witness. So I have this vast group of people who I am close with and I trust that, you know, I just want to, I don't understand that how our family forces this, you know, this information over their beliefs on others when all my friends want to do is see me win.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest difference with how we used religion or how our family used religion. Correct. Because even if you look at God as a whole, God is not just one thing. So why are you teaching me just one way? Mm-hmm. If you look at every person, right, and all we did was have the same relationship, the same idea, the same whatever with God, how would life actually look out, right? Mm-hmm. But that goes back to how our family was. It's like, okay, if we all think one way, if we all do this one thing, then we're just going to be that. And that's something that I didn't understand as a kid, but I was forced to do it. But now realizing that kind of made me steer away from God, because like now I don't know him. I don't know how to talk to him. I don't know how to. So that's something I had to really grow myself, was to have a personal relationship with me and God only. I'm not saying that I can't bring people in. I do have to have information. I do have to learn. But I need to have that personal connection with God so I understand him, that I'm connected personally, just me. And whatever views or people have within their life as far as different religions or whatever, at least they're open enough to talk about it, and we don't have to have a disagreement and just fall out quick. And that's something that, you know, we had a lot. We always fell out, and that's what caused us to separate from each other. And I think the more we have those open conversations with, you know, different whatever, different religions, different, just hear people out. And if that's something that they believe in, we don't have to be like, oh, that's wrong, or because of blah, 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 blah. Because we will be looked at the same way. Oh, you believe in X, Y, and Z. Well, this is what happened with your story. Well, this is what happened with your, we don't have to compare. If that's something that you believe in, that you have faith in, just leave it at that. So for question number 2.
Let's get it.
With you being a big brother and an uncle, how is your relationship with both of them? And before you answer, the only reason why I'm asking this question is because I am a big brother to my little brother Braden. Shout out to him on my dad's side, and that's something that I had to create a relationship with, or someone I had to create a relationship with, because of our. His mom, being with my dad at the time, and, not they're separate. We both live in different states. I felt like because I wasn't a good example, I didn't reach out off rip. Mm-hmm. And then randomly I had an email from him saying, hey, it's your little brother. Give me your number. I'm just like, first of all, jerk, hello. Like, it's nice to meet you. But for him to reach out, and then like now we have the conversations about like, he'll FaceTime me out of nowhere and be like, hey, I'm about to go to my school dance. Should I wear this? I just got a good grade on my test. Can I get this? And it's just like, it's really cool to see how he's willing to reach out to me, and like he still wants me in his life. And that's something that I had to do a better job of. But just because I felt like I was in a weird patch of my life that I just kind of didn't want to reach out and be like, hey, I'm going through some tough times, and like I didn't understand how to communicate that I wasn't mentally prepared to tell him like, hey, I am struggling mentally, and I don't know if and I didn't want it to affect him in any way. So I thought the best way for me was just to not talk to him at all. But now I see like the effect, like he really wants me there regardless of the fact. So how is your relationship with your brother and your nephew?
So I have nephews. I have 2 nephews.
2, yeah.
And I have a sister, an older sister and a younger brother. Again, my brother was born on my birthday, actually. Yeah. On my 8th birthday, so I'm 8 years older than him. And we don't really have the greatest of relationships at all. Like, it's actually kind of bad, I would say. Okay. One thing being is like, of course, being the older brother, the younger brother is always going to test you and try to see. Like, of course, especially if they get a little bit bigger than you. Yeah. And they're going to try to, they just want to, the competition factor is just always there. Yeah, for sure. So that's just one thing. But I've always had to just be like, here's your brother. Oh, there's somewhere you want to go? Oh, bet, take your brother with you. Literally 90% of the time of me growing up is take your brother with you. My mom was in the choir, so this religion, all this. Yeah, it all connects to each other. Yeah, like family dynamic, all kind of like fits in the scheme of things. And we all experience it. Like
Yeah.
PJ said the same thing.
Yeah.
It kind of like, I think that being forced to be that father figure or motherly figure early kind of deters you from wanting to be that forever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's just like at some point you gotta like figure it out, or you gotta grow up, or I have to grow up. Also outside of being a father figure early. You know what I mean? Because I'm not even a father at this point, and then I'm not even a man. I'm still trying to figure this out. And then on top of that, I don't have a father, and I don't have nobody saying, oh, this is how you're supposed to do this. So I was just deflecting on the whole responsibility factor, because it's not my responsibility in the scheme of things. And I kind of grew, well, if anybody knows me, I'm kind of the rebellious kid.
I am the same way.
And I've always been notorious, rebellious, bad. Like I was bad as hell. Of course, your family would tell us. Anyhow, but I've never felt bad about making a decision. And I never felt bad if somebody else felt bad about my responsible decision that I made. So, but at some points I did feel bad. So just to rewind, there's been times that there's a lot of bad things have been done to me from my brother, and I have forgiven him in so many instances. And that's from being a teenager, early 20s, and like how his current time frame has been constant, like, you know, negative things, stealing, like it's just so
the list. I
don't want to like, you know, go
for sure. You have to.
Because, but no, it's I don't want to make him feel away. I understand that we all grow as people, but so there's some things I would say have been unforgivable offenses. Yeah. So I wouldn't say unforgivable, because everything can be forgiven, because I'm at peace with my decision. I feel like if I'm at peace with me and myself, and I'm at peace with all the decisions I've made. If I feel like I've reached out, or I've tried to be, in a way, accountable for what I've done to other people in my adult stages, still not perfect, or I'm willing to be accountable, you know, for what I've done in my adult stages. But some things that you can't move from. Yeah, and
I do have to challenge it just a little bit, Josh, just because I feel like, and again, I don't know what you guys have been through, whatever, so I'm not going to talk about that. But specifically of the relationship of you guys being brothers, do you feel like that's something that you could move forward with, for the simple fact that you guys are brothers? Or are you, like, is that relationship ever going to be rekindled? Like, how do you? What's your future looking like with?
Let's just say there's no beef.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't have any beef. I don't have any ill will. I just know that setting boundaries is, to me, the most responsible and respectable thing you can do as an adult towards, regardless of whomever, regardless of whatever that family dynamic, or whoever they are to you. You can set boundaries and like protect yourself and your family. And when you have kids, you'll see that you gotta set boundaries to protect yourself. Yeah,
because you don't want that person to be influenced by whatever.
Correct. And you come in my house, you said like, oh, it's peaceful here, and because that's what it is.
Yeah. Wow.
Because I understand that being a man and being the man of the house, you gotta protect everybody in the house from those outside and those inside. Like if someone's disrespecting anybody in the house, you gotta check that. You gotta check it ASAP. And you can't sit up here and let things dwell and there ain't no elephant in this house. There ain't no elephant in this room. Because things get checked as soon as it happens, and then we keep it pushing. And things here are all about moving forward and all about, you know, adding to the piece. How can we make things, you know, better? How can we be better as people? And how can, you know, we make sure that everybody around us wins? Like I have a stepson. He's my girlfriend's son's 10. Like we've had our dynamic, like, being men in the house who
Yeah.
don't bump heads. But
Yeah.
like, I want to see him be the best that he can be at every point in life. You know what I mean?
And that starts with your influence.
Exactly.
Right.
So I know that I try to be the most positive person for everyone around me, including my son, and who's not here. So I understand in the future that, like, we all gotta win. Like, this is why I'm changing my career path, because I want to be somebody who makes a difference in others' lives, and I also want to get this pension and be retire after 25 years.
Yeah.
I want to be here with my family. I want to go garden in my backyard and do whatever I can so I could see the youngins win and do a different path, because you can see it's not what we came up on.
Yeah, and I think that's something that is good for us to even experience, because it's like, we're so exposed or whatever at an early age to specific avenues.
Right.
Because like I'm at the position or in the phase, I guess, in my life where I don't want to just work and die. I don't want to just work. Like, it makes no sense. Like, you're literally waking up, giving your mental, your body, your heart to something that potentially doesn't matter. But the impact on life is influence.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, whatever you see, whatever you digest, whatever you touch, it's an influence on who you are as a person and how other people receive you. So I feel like that's something that's very important for us to really dissect, is influence and what you choose to have influence in your life. Going to question number 3, and I'm asking this just because I never actually knew. So question number 3 is, what was your childhood like?
So
Transitioning into your adulthood.
I grew up. I've only had, I would say, a few, like in me and my father didn't really see each other that often.
Right.
So there's a few memories of who he was, and like that was, a representation of, like a father figure. So early on, I saw just nothing but, domestic violence between him and my mom.
Mm-hmm.
And then she decided to go, different way, just to, me and my sister. Mm-hmm. And again, we were just really poor. So that's why we were just so close to your mom and your uncles and, your grandma, essentially. Yeah. So your grandma was like another grandma for me.
Yeah.
So it was, all I had was just me and my sister. So,
yeah.
And my mom worked a lot. I mean, it was, and we went to church often.
Man, I won't talk about it, bro.
We went to church often. So it was cool times. We had, I would say the kind of labeled as the problem child, just because I challenged everyone. And like, if it was verbally, mentally, I was always the one challenging someone's, what they're doing, asking questions. And I think from our family dynamic, it's just like, oh yeah, don't be asking me no questions. And I have to reflect back on that sometimes, because my 10-year-old, I call him my stepson. His mom and I aren't married, but I do plan on doing that in the future. But it's like I have to catch myself, because I'm like, damn, I would have did that shit too. So I have to be like, dang, like, I got less hard on him, because I got to understand, like, he's 10, and when I was 10, I was like, oh, wow. And then I have to give my mom some grace at times, because I don't really hold too much against my mother. Like, me and my mother don't have the greatest dynamic either, because I would say that's along with setting boundaries.
Yeah.
And you just learn, like, I'm 35 years old. You learn how you do set boundaries sometimes. They don't respect it. Sometimes they do. And ultimately, you just got to do what's best for you in a lot of situations. And as you can see, like, I'm kind of like, again, I'm at peace with my decision. And it's just because of, I see the growth in me, and I see the growth in where my path is going, and I'm blessed. Like, I really don't. I'm not really super, like, religious. Mm-hmm. I just try to be positive, right. And I understand that I've put into others. I think my love language is to always just show love, be a servant of people, and that's why I went to culinary school, like, because I love to see people's face.
Yeah, the reaction.
Eat food, and now I'm going to be school to be a paramedic and a firefighter. It just goes into that being a servant and being, what's the other things? My brain is.
No, keep talking.
What's that other love languages?
So like words of affirmation,
acts of
service, words of affirmation.
See, I'm not with the words thing. I don't.
And like what's the other one? Like gift giving or something like that.
Gift giving, exactly.
Stuff like that. I don't know.
So again, and a lot of these plants are the gift giving.
Wow. Yeah.
Acts of love. But anyhow, I feel like that's why I'm going into that field, so I help others, because that's just how I show love.
Wow, man. And to kind of rebuttal to how your childhood was, mine was kind of the same, just because of we were also poor, so it was kind of like that generational curse of are we going to get out of it, blah 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 blah. But like kind of seeing that at an early age, I've always want to put myself in a position to be like, hey mom, quit your job, bro, we're about to go buy your house, or what I'm saying, stuff like that. Just because I feel like it's important for them to live life too, because regardless of the fact that, my mom was a young mother, and and then my sister in a sense was a young mother as well, because she had to raise me, because, my mom was off working all the time. So it's like, I sometimes want to feel like I'm taking that pressure off of them and giving them their life back.
For sure.
Because I know I can't help, the situation that I'm in, but I can elevate their thinking and their minds with, just my character and personality overall. And again, goes right back to influence. Like if you're able to be in a position where you can help your family and other people, like what else do you really want out of life? Like there's no accolade, there's no money, there's no nothing that can really put you in a sense where it's like, okay, I don't need anybody. Like you have to want the best for people. And I'm so grateful that you said that, you like doing acts of service or just serving people in general, because, that's something that I want as well in my life. And I do understand the whole boundary thing, just because you also understand how it affects your life overall. Like not just at this moment when you were a teenager or a kid, but how it affects in the long run. So I do appreciate you saying the understanding of setting healthy boundaries, like not just completely just, I'm just saying cutting off, but for sure healthy boundaries, like, okay, I might not want that person in this just because of how it affects everything else. So I truly understand, and I'm with what you're saying as well, as far as, everything that you have said.
And I'm not, and again, some things I don't always make the right decision.
For sure.
So I'm not influencing everybody to be like, hey, cut that person.
No, yeah.
I don't. My doors are still always open. Yeah. It's just that if we're going to communicate, let's communicate healthily. Let's communicate with among the boundaries that we set, and be respectable, to each other's, boundaries. So, and again, I've been having a conversation. I had a conversation with my grandma. I want to learn who everybody is without the influence of their outside, religious beliefs, political. I don't want to hear about none of that shit. Like, I'm a creative. I was low key hippie going. That's just what I'm all about. Just peace and showing love, and like I don't want that influence in our conversation, or that real vibe in a room that you can't sit up here and move. Like every time, like you go to Thanksgiving and you feel like everybody in there so stiff, because nobody wants to actually be themselves. Nobody wants to actually move freely and talk freely among what they believe, because we're all artists at the same time. Like, how can you sit up here and let all of this stuff stop your art? Like, how can you let your religion or let your personal beliefs get in the way of your art? Because this is what makes you happy. And I don't know who said it, but once you stop producing art, that's when you become depressed. You start being, worried about things that or outside of yourself. And I believe in God, but I believe we are all our own gods. So you got to protect yourself and protect your peace so you could be that person that other people see and be that influence on others.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because going back to the whole art thing, like everyone has a gift. It's just about how you use it, the choice on how you use it. And again, I mean, that's a whole different conversation. But I did just want to say that though, and like, I encourage everyone to use their gift. You have it. Either you haven't been exposed to it because it has been brought out of you, but that's just where you had to change your community. And I also respect the fact that, you saying that you want to learn them outside of that, because like, if every conversation is that, well, what makes you sad? Well, I don't need to be sad because I have God. No.
Exactly.
So it's like, I really understand. I understand that because it does kind of deteriorate your relationship with certain people. Mm-hmm. And again, that's something that I had to, again, go back to understanding is like, well, who are you really?
For sure.
And it kind of goes into the next question. If I'm allowed to ask it, unless you have something else. You have something else to add on to that?
Nah,
okay. Goes into question 4. Because things were pressed on us.
3 already?
Yeah, 3 was what was
sorry,
no, you good. Going into question 4, because things were pressed on us as kids growing up from our parents, what is something that you had to unlearn in your adult life?
And one thing, the main thing I had to unlearn is, like you said earlier, how to be so reactive. And then in how to just really thought processes. So I live in northern Kentucky, which is like being from Vegas, living in Pittsburgh. This is not anything that was on my radar.
Yeah.
So, but I'm in a store a lot of times. I'm probably honestly, you look at my neighborhood, probably the only black person within like a certain mile radius.
Yeah.
But you have to unlearn how you react to things because people don't react that way in normal life. Like, it doesn't make sense to be always defensive on a defense if people aren't really playing either. They're just neutral to start with. So you're being defensive. You've been bringing negativity to the situation off rip. So I think that's the main thing I had to unlearn, because growing up with just a mother, you kind of get more so emotional response. Mm-hmm. So just controlling your emotions and what to react to and what to listen to, what to speak on. That's the main thing. Who to judge and what their beliefs and like if somebody chooses to be trans, gay, whatever, like it don't matter. Going to art school opened up a lot of my social capacity. I would say.
Yeah.
And without having to be like, oh, this person's going to try to talk to me or whatever. Like, because you go to art school, we're all here for art. Yeah,
and literally everything is art, yeah.
And I've met some of the most fire artists, and like a lot of things that you get in the way of like learning somebody who's dope as hell. So I think that's the main thing. And just my I worked retail for like 12 years, so, and in management at that. So I a lot of times I would react in a way that would be like, oh, like I'm this tough guy. You don't talk to me like that.
Yeah.
Type, like, who cares in most situations? Like, as long as you can control your vibes, control your thoughts, that's like things I have to unlearn. Like, stop being like, I used to have the biggest temper as a child. Like, I'll be wanting to fight. And that's just from not controlling your emotions. And I have to unlearn a lot of Christian beliefs, a lot of strong Christian beliefs. I have to unlearn a lot of like, oh, you better do this or this is going to happen. Like, there's been so much of that pressed on you as a kid to try to control or make you do things that somebody else wants you to do.
Yeah, and most of it is because like they weren't, I'm not going to say they weren't challenged, but because it was pressed on them as a kid, now it's affecting us. But then you lose that relationship with your mom, with your dad, and I feel like that's why a lot of people stray away from religion as a whole, because like most of it is Christian based, but just religion as a whole, because like they see that there's no physical relationship with their parents or their whoever if that's not involved. And I feel like that's problematic because I'm still in your life. I'm still either blood related or I'm still in some type of relation with you. So why is that the only thing that we have to focus on? And like that's something that I'm trying to break away from as well, because I've said this and will say this a million times. One of the main reasons why I started doing this is because I don't want to get to a place in my life where I'm older and like all my family members pass on, and I didn't get that chance to be like, well, I know him, but then if he passes, then it's like, I didn't get the chance to, and that's problematic. And I shouldn't live in fear, which I'm working out of, but I don't want to get to a point where I don't know someone in my family or in my life, and like I never got to have that healthy boundary for us to just have conversation. Because other stuff is involved. And I think unlearning how to change your mindset is huge because again, you soak up a lot of stuff as a child, and then as an adult, it still affects you because you only think in that one way. And then you go into art school, you see other things like, okay, life isn't just this. Now I can put my hand in there and it still attaches to what I'm doing. I can put my hand in there, it still attaches to what I'm doing. So it's just like learning how to take your personality and your character and still attach it to all these different things, because, I don't know, it's just being multifaceted and being able to understand things and being able to learn from other things helps you grow with who you are as a whole.
And helps other people around you grow.
Come on, man.
I'm all about community. Like if
community is a big part, bro.
If I can give something and help you out, and we just, I'm about using people. Like I'm about using people who are useful and being useful to them. And
another thing is like, what are you really losing with giving out information? Like what are you losing?
That doesn't make sense. Like
it doesn't make sense.
Why are we selling classes that help you credit? Like why are you charging somebody for that?
Bro,
how does that make sense?
It doesn't make sense, bro.
Like it doesn't.
Yeah, that's a whole different.
I'm all about like just being nice initially, because I've been such a dick majority of my life.
Yeah, like
I've tried to be empathetic. Like let's just say, shout out to my girlfriend. She's fucking incredible.
Yeah.
She's a therapist. She's a social worker. So she sees a lot, and she deals with autistic kids and kids who have mental health issues. And she just maintains, so shout out to all the social workers as well.
Yeah.
But anyhow, she's so empathetic, and a lot of times I want to react about something, and she'd be like, you can't say that. You can't do, I'm like, damn it, you're right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm like, all right, cool. I have to often check myself, and I'm so thankful for her because she is such a dope person, and she makes me or helps me see things in a different light. At this point in life, because again, it's all unlearning.
Yeah.
It's all adjusting and being once you hit 35, you can't sit up here and be thinking the same way you're 20.
Heck no, man.
You can't even at 30. You have to continuously grow, and you have to also give other people grace who has not yet grown or as they grow.
Yeah, they haven't developed anything.
For sure. There's a lot of times I'll be looking at your immediate family and people I don't really talk to as much. Sometimes you have old grudges or old feelings that you have towards a person, but you really can't have that towards in the current or in the right now, because they're not even the same person as they were when you had that issue or when you felt a certain type of way.
Right.
So yeah, I just try to have, again, healthy communication and healthy conversations like this one is just incredible.
That's beautiful, man. We'll get to that in a second. So kind of changing avenues, changing topics a little bit, because I do want to talk about your formal profession as a chef, because you did say that. So this question number 5 is with you being a formal professional chef, what do you wish people knew more about food? And I think that kind of goes deep because how our family was with food growing up, and our relationship is just we come together, we have this food, that's it. And that's the only real relationship we kind of had was the family gatherings, right? And necessarily that's not really a good relationship with it, because now that we're getting older, we're all not gonna say we're all affected, but some people are affected with diabetes, with how it's affecting your old age, with how it's affecting how you think and what you do. So like with you knowing a lot about plants and food and stuff, what do you wish that people knew more of and how it affected them?
Well, first off, I wish people knew that how their state is currently is just when you cook food and you're cooking for yourself or you're cooking for others, it's an energy transfer. So if you're in a certain mind state or a certain type of, you know, well-being at that time, and like how you're feeling at that time, it come through in food. So there's been plenty, and I know this because there's been plenty instances, because I was in a former like really like abusive relationship with my ex. Like verbally, like physically. So there's been times that I would have a catering event, and right before the catering event, I have a anxiety attack, a panic attack, and I'll bust out in hives. I'm way late, like I'm just going through it, and I'll have the food's trash. Food's like terrible, and or even if I am in like not in that extent of a bad scenario, but even if I'm just not in the best of moods, like, you know, it ain't gonna hit like it hits, you know what I mean, when I'm feeling good, when I'm looking good.
Jeez, bro.
So a lot of again, so if you're in that bad state, you're cooking for other people, you're just giving some people that low energy, low, you know, type food. So
man, yeah.
I think that, like, and I learned that from friends or other like chefs, like you gotta be like in a good state. You gotta be like, you know, that's where love comes through.
Yeah, because it goes deeper with that, because it's, you know, with the energy transfer, it's also when they digest it too. So, you know, like as you're eating it, and then you start trying to kind of changing your energy, your whatever, and like and then you become what
this food is. Yeah, but yeah, that's my thoughts on it. Like,
no, for sure.
You know what I mean? Like, but
wow,
that's one thing I think people should know, that how to cook just cleaner, I would say. Like,
yeah,
you don't have to always like you got to be more open-minded about things. So it's like if we're taught one way, it's okay to be able to like, all right, let me try this other way, or the way that somebody else is doing something that's not wrong either. So a lot of times when we cook like soul food, it's just cooking the same way we've been cooking for years, 100 years ago, 200 during slavery times. Like maybe this isn't the way what we should be eating at this time. And you know, like if our family's been having cancer in the family for years, like maybe this isn't, you know, what we should keep doing. So you got to make adjustments, and you got to be willing to make those adjustments, because like food is everything, and like that's how we live, and that's how we're gonna die.
It's especially with like how they're creating food, and like I just seen something where like they're in other I don't know states, farms, whatever, people are starting to create digital designs of food and then feeding it to people, and it has like the same effect. So I'm like, if that's the way food has also always been going, obviously as well, because like, you know, with GMOs and all that stuff, it's like, you know, why are we not paying more attention to what we break down on our bodies? And I think like a lot of it comes to, well, this is the cheaper route, blah 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 blah. Even if it is expensive to eat certain stuff, we do need to make that adjustment, because that's how we live longer. That's how we extend. What word am I looking for? Extend.
Life capacity.
Yeah. To other family members and all that stuff.
For sure. I mean, and you want to live, especially if you got family. You got You want to live to well, shit. Honestly, let me spin it back. One thing a friend of mine told me is like, if you're a parent, if you're an adult, you gotta like keep yourself in the best mental capacity. So you kind of gotta be selfish to a really high extent to make sure that everybody else is cool. Like for instance, like a lot of times fathers think that they gotta, especially if there's both parents, fathers think that they gotta be around constantly their kid. But a lot of times you gotta make that sacrifice to make it happen.
Yeah.
So your kid is not growing up poor, like being in like conditions like because a lot of times how we learn to eat is because of what we had available to us.
Survival mode, yeah.
Survival mode, right. And then what we, like, you know, there's not a lot of options. Like, and we don't think to eat healthily because we didn't grow up eating healthy because that's just what the people before us were taught. Because a lot of times they were poor too. People before, like, we have the ability to change that and eat better and treat our bodies better. And you have to listen to your body. If you ate something and it doesn't make you feel good, you probably shouldn't eat that. Yeah,
because in that, real quick before we go to the last question is something that I've admired a lot about different cultures is that, like, you know, there are actual like plates out there that have, like, you know, different graphs and different cultures of how they eat, and like basically every culture but America does 70 to 80% or 60 to 70% of greens and vegetables and all that stuff. And then it's only like 10% of meat, which is like, I think it's like smaller than the palm of your hand. So it's like, if you think about that in versus American terms, where it's 70% meat and 10% greens, it's like, you know, look at that. Look at how that's really affecting us in real time. We're the largest human on the planet. We're the most getting cancer. We're the most receiving all these new whatever because of what we feed ourselves. So it's like, if we could make that a healthy adjustment in understanding how we could live longer and, you know, whatever, why aren't we doing it? But I think it's because of survival mode. But again, that just comes with understanding certain parts of community. You have to reach out to different people. Just because you're exposed to certain things doesn't mean that that's the only option.
For sure.
Sometimes you just have to turn your head left to right or up and down to see what those options are. All right, going into the last question number 6. I think I know how you're going to answer because of just how you've been answering stuff today.
For sure.
But question number 6, what is something that I could have done better to make our relationship better going up from childhood to now?
I would just say, there's really not much you can do. We all just make decisions based on what we know and what we have to, you know, the materials and things that we have. So it's not like you were younger, I decided to leave. It's not like I made myself available to, you know, communication-wise to a lot of people. Because honestly, I felt like when I went to Pittsburgh, I'm like, oh, I'm about to get out of here. A lot of times when you leave your city or your hometown, you just want to get up and go and start fresh. Yeah, just disconnect yourself from what you were growing up with. Yeah. But it's not saying that I'm not wrong for not communicating or communicating properly. And a lot of times, again, like there's been, I'm the type to hold grudges, I would say. Like I'm a Capricorn, some people believe like.
Big Capricorns, yeah.
We're both Capricorns, actually, yeah. We are very stubborn and we will hold a grudge forever and not like really budge. Like, so some stuff like I think that I'm less of like grudge holding with a person because I don't like to feel that harbor like feelings and stuff because it's better to talk it out or get it out. But anyhow, what was the question again? Yeah,
but basically just asking, is there something that I could have done better to
something you could have done better? Not really. I think that me as an older like cousin, I think I could have done better at communicating with everybody. But again, that goes back to me being like, oh, I think everybody kind of is doing their own thing anyway. Like, I think that I'm such a independent type. I was really forced to be.
You had to be, yeah.
So I think that it was just me being just like I didn't really know how to be that person that communicates well either. Like I used to be, I told you I was bad as hell, but so I think that growing up and having like parents that like the way they think punishment should be, I've been solitary confinement majority of my childhood, you know what I mean? So like I think that also comes with the like I confide myself whenever I'm in new position, a tough position, or even like in a bad space. I just go in like that solitary confinement.
Yeah.
But my like having a girlfriend that she'd be like she'd be breaking it down like, oh, you can't do that, or she knows exactly when I'm in a mode. So again, shout out to her. But yeah, I'm starting to like kind of unlearn those reactions or responses. So I wouldn't say there's anything that you could have done, because you can only do what you knew how to do. And we're so much. How old are you now?
24.
Yeah, so 11-year difference. Like what? Like you're like a child at this point. Like no, but yeah, I think now that like I communicate with you as an adult, like, I think that you responded. Like some people just don't know how to communicate. Like you hit them up, they don't even say nothing back. Like I think that I don't think there's anything that you did wrong. But yeah, I know I did wrong by not being the cool big cousin that, reaches out. Because I don't know, they could have thought that I was that cool guy in college and culinary school and I had all the sneakers. And you know what I mean? I think that I should have been more of a better, I would say, older cousin in that aspect. So
no, yeah, definitely understand that. Just because I think one of the main reasons why I asked that, because like again, being a younger whatever in the family, like I always felt like, when certain stuff happened, somehow it was my fault. And I always feel like if there's a way that I could have, I know you can't change the past or refix the past, whatever, but if there was a way that I could have done something better, I would always want to know how. Just off the simple fact of, it affects us in real time. So like if I'm thinking about it, it's like, well, man, what could I have done better? But now that we're at the age where we can communicate that, because like, we didn't really get to develop at an early age, but now that we can communicate that, it was just always something that I've just like, wanted to know. So
no, I even feel bad because I see you guys talk. So I'm like, some of the like trauma that you guys have to, go through, like we did the same stuff. Like, and it's just because of the same cycles and like you say, generational curses. But I don't believe in generational curses as per se, because I think we all can control. We're all so aware in this.
We're aware,
in this day and age. Like you can't neglect accountability, because we all know there's all these terms that are out. Everybody knows what accountability means. Everybody knows what narcissism is. Everybody knows what toxic is. Like, so you have to be accountable for yourself and be willing to be accountable, even if you don't even think that you were wrong. Like, you just got to be willing to have that conversation. And again, like with our family, I feel like that the disconnect is just that is like we all have to be willing to be accountable for ourselves and not deflect, not sit up here and subject anybody else to what they think someone is doing wrong or is wrong.
And I think that's something that our family is starting to break now, is to really understand, like, communication does go a long way.
For sure.
Because I'm like, there's no reason why, especially for all adults now, like there's no reason why we should be not talking to each other or just having an open conversation. Like we don't have to come together and always have food and always have fun. Like sometimes we do need to come together and just talk. Simply as that. So I think that's something that I've. Did you want to say something?
I was just like, we just came up in that you can't say that because I'm an adult and that you shouldn't have a voice.
Yeah, that whole I said so type of stuff.
So we just got and not even I have to check myself doing the same thing as a parent. Like, I gotta be like, I can't. Just, I can't say to them they can't ask why.
Yeah. Well,
like, it's okay to ask why.
For sure. Those are all the questions that I had. Usually with this part of the segment, I usually say that, people can ask me one question and one question only. So if you have prepared a question, amazing. If you haven't, you need some time, let me know. You can ask me anything.
Ask you anything. What can I do to help you grow?
You know what's funny, guys? So I was praying last night and I felt like you were going to ask this question, and I was afraid because I didn't know how to answer, but I'm going to try the best of my ability. What can you do to help me grow? Honestly, one thing that I'm looking to, or from you, is just us to be in each other's lives more, for one. Just because there's a lot of long lost time. regardless of the fact of decisions, choices, it doesn't matter. Now that we understand that, we're able to communicate with each other, I would just like to support each other more, no matter what you're doing, no matter what it is. I want to be there, tell you as a cousin, I love you, and I want to, I want to get there. Secondly, I do want to understand more about like planting and food overall, just because I see the effect it has on people in my day-to-day life. Like they're addicted to certain stuff because of food, or just the relationship with food, and I want to understand how plants, affect, breathing, and how they affect personalities,
Well, I'm going to dig into that because I'm sure everybody can see those plants.
Yeah,
well,
please.
First off, we have almost 100, I'd say 99 plants. And this just comes from...
What?
I've stopped buying my girlfriend flowers. Yeah. I started like a year ago.
Yeah.
Because flowers is eventually just like, to me, it's a bad investment.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
And then on top of that, as you grow as a couple, as you go together, like all your plants just grow with you. Like a lot of these plants weren't this size just like a couple months ago. And on top of that, like plants are just something, if you could stop and take a breath, stop and just like, what you're doing, it stops time a bit. And you just notice all the new growth, like that fiddle fig, just 2 days ago, that leaf wasn't coming out. Like
right.
It just looked like a stick. Like so you kind of notice all the small things around, and it just slows time a little bit. 'Cause a lot of times people are just, or even me, is just like be so anxious, and you're just like,
yeah, because go ahead.
Besides that, all the other stuff, I'm not really sure. I just know what for me,
yeah.
We just kind of like stop and look at the plants.
Yeah, because when I first walked into his house, I was telling him there's a lot of houses that I've been in where I'm like, okay, aesthetically this looks amazing, but his house is the first house where I know I can just breathe. Like I don't feel anything. I feel like I'm completely at peace just because I'm able to just breathe, you know what I mean? And I feel like a lot of people have those houses where it could be aesthetically pleasing, whatever, but if you're not able to even think in your house or whatever, how are you ever going to, produce, when you walk out the door, you know what I mean? And I feel like that goes such a long way.
Yeah. That's all my girlfriend. She's the interior design, whatever. I just sometimes buy plants. Honestly, I like plants. So I buy her plant, be like, oh yeah, this is really for you,
but it's really mine because I'm about to do it.
It's like the boat for ours. Right. We just keep it at my house.
But that is all we have today for today's episode. Josh, I just want to say thank you for agreeing for me and my team. Mr. Keyshawn back there behind the camera, thank you for coming today. We appreciate you having us, and thank you for having such a wonderful conversation with me. And if, like I said, we've created the healthy boundary, people, remember that, to talk to each other. I'm always here for you, whatever you need.
I will say this is, thank you also.
Yeah.
This is therapy for me.
Yeah.
I got this shirt on because I am going through a custody battle with, so I understand that. I'm just saying that because I'm going through a lot. I don't look like it, but this helps. This helps me get out, things that, might be in and just need to, talking helps. So it's my therapy, so I appreciate you. Shout out to all the dads going through custody stuff. Freaking stuff.
Yeah. But other than that, guys, it is Noiz.I and Josh, and we are out.